Hi guys, my name is Shauna, and I am the face behind the soap that you see here at Prismatic Naturals. I know many of us have been stuck at home for the past month or two, and I don't know about you guys, but this has been a really great time for me to focus on one of my favorite hobbies, which is soap making. So I've been posting more pictures of the soap I've been creating, and I've gotten a lot of comments, messages, feedback from my friends and family and followers asking how did you get into this? How do you even make soap? What's the steps? What's the process? So I'm here today to show you just some quick tips on how to get started and some of the supplies and tools that you need to do that. I'm also going to show you a quick process of how I actually create, blend, and make the soap. So let's start by talking about what are some of the ingredients that you need to make soap. So the first thing that I bought was a book on how to make soap. So this book is called Pure Soapmaking: How to Create Nourishing Natural Skincare Soaps. And I ordered it on Amazon along with a lot of these other supplies I'm about to show you today. So I definitely recommend starting out with a book or just Googling some recipes and learning the process of soap a little bit more. And this video should help you with that too. So after reviewing this book, and I've done, several different test experiment batches, I have found my favorite base recipe. And for that recipe, I use olive oil, coconut oil, shea butter. You're also going to need some lye and sodium lactate. Those are our main base soap ingredients. The other things you'll need, the fun part, is however you want to scent your soap. I prefer to use natural essential oils, so there's a lot of different brands out there. This is just an example of some of the essential oils I'm going to be using today. We're going to do lavender and patchouli. So when I am thinking of my whole process in my head, I don't even think about what the soap's going to look like until I've decided on the scent. And I usually like to pick colors that will be reminiscent of the scents that you're getting. So since I'm doing lavender and patchouli today, I decided to do a purple and yellow color for my soap. So to do the coloring portion of it, you can choose lots of different ingredients. Today I'm going to use something called alkanet root powder, which gives you a really nice natural purple. To boost that purple up a little bit, I also add a little bit of mica powder. So I use this brand called Slice of the Moon. A little bit goes a really long way, and I find that it gives you a really nice color in your soap. It's not super vibrant or artificial looking, it still looks natural. We're also going to use a yellow mica pigment today. So that covers the actual supplies for the soap, but what about the tools and what you'll need to make the soap? One thing you're definitely going to need is some nice size measuring cups like these. I also highly recommend finding a measuring cup like this one here. It has this nice long spout. You won't be mixing anything in this, but this will be used when you're going to pour your soap into the mold. And it's really helpful to get a nice precise pour with the long spout on here. It's also important to keep in mind your supplies need to either be plastic or stainless steel. You can't allow aluminum to come into contact with your soap because it can mess up the formula. So if you are using any type of metal spoons or anything, make sure they are stainless steel. I do use some long-handled metal spoons to help in the mixing process. I also use a lot of spatulas because you don't want to leave any of that soap behind. So it's going to help scrape all the soap out of the bowl that you're mixing it in. Another important tool is the immersion blender. So you definitely need a stick blender, something like this, to mix the lye into your oils. And we can't forget safety gear. So when you are especially working with the lye, you want to make sure that you wear safety goggles of some sort, like these. You also want to wear gloves in the entire soap making process. I'm having a really hard time finding gloves right now. I'm literally down to my last pair. And also kind of hard to find right now, face mask. I had this one for a while now. It's a N95. You only really need to wear this when you're pouring the lye into the water because you don't want to breathe it in. It is recommended though that you wear a face mask during the whole soap making process. A couple other things that are going to be helpful for you is some way to measure your ingredients. So as you're learning more about soap, you'll see it's very particular to make sure you have the right amount of ingredients. If you're even a 0.1 ounce off, it could throw off your whole recipe. So I recommend using a digital scale, something like this one. to measure all of your ingredients. Another really helpful tool is a digital thermometer, something like this. You literally just point it and it tells you what the temperature is, because you can't mix your oils and your lye together until you meet a certain temperature, depending on the recipe, but temperature is very important. The last thing you're going to want is something to pour your soap into. So you need a mold for your soap. I have a couple different options that I use. You can use something like this. It's a silicone mold tray used for baking purposes or chocolate making. This is a nice rose shaped mold. They have all kinds of different shapes out there, but my favorite is actually a mold like this one right here. I have a few of these on hand so that I can make multiple batches at once, and they're really nice because they have the wood outer box, and inside is the silicone mold that when you're ready to pull the soap out, you just slip the mold right out, and then you can get your soap out of this very easily. Last step with soap making is cutting your soap if you're going to have a mold like this. If you're using a mold, something like these ones, you don't need a soap cutter. You can just push it right out of there and you're good to go. But if you are using a mold that needs to be cut, I recommend something like this one here. I actually found this through Instagram. It's a company called Wood Skin, and it's a really great cutter. So you just put your loaf right in there and it cuts all 8 slices at once. And we'll have another video showing you how this works. So that's it as far as supplies and tools to get started. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. I do like to have designated supplies just for soap making. You don't want to use measuring cups or spoons that are touching your food and things like that. So definitely recommend keeping it completely separate. So next up, I'm going to give you guys a quick tutorial and show you how I actually mix and make the soap, including adding fragrance and coloring to it.